So it is Sunday night, and I'm excited, man. I can't even I'm excited for the market to open tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what NIO does. I think that it's going to spike. I really do. I feel like that's going to happen. Now, to be clear, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor. I am not an attorney. I don't want to be those things. I'm just a guy who's been watching NIO since I first bought in June. It was $6 and change when I first bought in. And matter of fact, yeah, wow, I've been watching for 5 months and put in several hundred hours. It's been, I'm enjoying it though. I'm looking at it as a long-term investment, but what it's done in the short term, man, oof, I'm just getting a free ride out of this thing. I've told a number of people about it, dating back to June when I first got in, and for the most part, people just kind of were like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, let me invest in a Chinese EV company. That's a great idea." But I do know one of my contacts got in at that point, and in fact, I've since then I'm like, "Hey, I hope you got your seatbelt on because we're going for a ride, man." It's just fun. I'm enjoying it, and as you could probably tell. But I had someone ask what I would do with if I was just entering the market right now. And so, to be clear, like I said, I first bought in June when it was six and change. So I got a really nice price point. And what I am doing and will do moving forward is I'm going to try to buy the dips. But the crazy thing is this thing is just flying up. And what's happening is the trend seems to be for NIO, since I've been watching it and in on it, is it goes up to a new high, then it comes back down, trades sideways, as they say, kind of just back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it goes up to a new high. And at some point, the momentum should slow down. But in other videos, I have also talked about how I see at least 3 growth phases, and we are only in the first one. And with what happened on Friday, we had a crazy day Friday, and it was there's some news that came out. NIO had already peaked and hit a new high, and so I expected it to go back down anyway, as it has done over the last 5 months. And it did go down, but it kept going in part because of this news, in part because there are a lot of people who have been playing the short game, doing the options and all those things, and which that's cool. That's not my thing, but hey, if you can make money on this thing, man, good for you. But what was interesting is there was huge trade volume on Friday, and I started looking, and over the weekend it sure was validated in my mind anyway that we've got big investors. I call them big dogs, the institutional investors, the ones who can weigh in and buy 1 million shares at a time. They're the ones who are really going to drive the market, I think, in the long term. And so I've been watching them for months now, and more of them are buying in, and some of the ones that are already in are coming back to the table for seconds. They're hungry and they like what they're getting. So with that in mind, I feel like my gut says it's going to spike in the morning, and we'll see. I'm excited to watch the ride either way. If it drops and goes down, I'm going to buy. So either way I win, but it's all good. That's just part of the journey and part of having fun with this. So what would I do if I wasn't in my position, if I was buying in new? And I do have some contacts who are doing this. So the question was sort of posed to me, and I'm glad it was asked. If I was coming in for the first time right now, I would watch the market open Monday morning, tomorrow morning. It is about 11:30 my time, Central Time. So I would watch the pre-earnings and see what it's doing, and then immediately the 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday before Friday, I watched when the market opened, and it jumped immediately both days. And so I would watch very closely when it first opens to see what has happened over the weekend, what moves have been made, what positions placed, and then I would look at the trade volume, because I want to see how much action is there. Is there a bunch of action right away? Because if there's a big spike in the action, then to me, that tells me, okay, we probably have some more big dogs getting in the action, and I want to sit back and see where this goes. If it goes up right away, I'm I'm not in, I'm watching it to see what happens. And I probably will end up waiting. I'll keep monitoring it in case it drops. But frankly, for me personally, I wouldn't be upset getting in it around the $40 mark. Now, it's not at that point now. It may open and go down to that point, but it may shoot up too. So, again, that's just something to monitor. That's what I would do if it was me. And if it does go down, then I still might wait because I would, again, want to check the trade volume. I would want to see, is there a trend? Is it going to keep going down? Because at that point, I would already be thinking, and there's a little bit of greed involved just because I want to get a price point that's lower. But it's also just a simple investment strategy. You know, we, as investors, and even in life, we can't eliminate risk. We just can't. There's no such thing. And even if you do everything right, something crazy can still happen. It's life, all right? Trust me. I've had some crazy stuff that you wouldn't believe go on. And so you can't eliminate risk in business or life, but you can minimize it. And each person has to determine what their level of comfort is with risk. And then they have to look at the reward or the return or the profit in this case and kind of set their goal of what they're trying to do. For me, I would still be looking at the long-term play. So if I'm entering at about $40, I would feel like that's a decent price. At this point, I would feel like that if I didn't have any shares. But I would also watch whether it goes up or down initially, just to get a sense of where it's going. And then remembering that it's got all the way up until, I believe it's Tuesday night after the market closes. So we've got 2 trading days to see and track this thing a little bit. And I think the earnings are going to be very strong. And so with that in mind, it still doesn't mean that the stock will go up or stay up. So I would be looking for the best buy-in point, and I would be hoping for the dip after earnings. But I would be very attentive and watch starting from when it opens up in the morning and just see what happens and see where my opportunity is. For me, I like to take a lot of the emotion out of it. And so what I mean by that is I will try to set numerical goals or points that I will evaluate things. So for example, I've already mentioned $40 a couple times. That for me is a pretty good buy-in point at this point if I'm new to the stock. And frankly, because I don't know if it's going to go under 40 again. If it does, it's definitely something I would want to look at and move on, unless it's trending down and it's going down drastically. If it does, then again, I'm going to be a little bit greedy and try to get even cheaper. But then if it goes into earnings and it really just has gone up or has really been strong, as I suspect it will be, then I'm waiting. I'm waiting until after earnings and hoping that there's a dip or a sell-off or some profit taking. I'm not sure whether that will happen. I don't even know whether to expect a big dip after we maybe had a little bit of that prematurely on Friday. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, watch the trade volume. That's what I am going to do either way. And because again, that is an indicator of what investors and how the big dogs are playing things. So long term, I see it going up. And in fact, I have told a number of people who have asked that I plan to buy the dips until at least $80. I think that now understand, I'm speculating with this company. There is risk. As I've said before, I realize that you can't eliminate risk, but from what I've seen and what I've studied over the last 5 months, there is no stock that excites me like this. In a former life, I was a real estate investor, and I don't like the real estate market right now, at least not in the US. And so I'm kind of waiting on that anyway. But for right now, to me, NIO has the best ceiling, and it still has a good price point. Although I do acknowledge there's risk, and the company's not profitable, and it's going to take a little more time for that. And I'm okay with that because I really like pretty much everything I'm seeing about it. So that's what I would do. That's what I will do. That's what I am doing. I hope this is helpful. But again, not a financial advisor, not an attorney. Not trying to be those things. Don't want to be those things. Those folks are beyond me. I know some attorneys, and so they're way smart. They're up here. I'm not smart like that. So I'm just having fun with this, and we'll see where it goes. But thank you for watching. Let's ride this NIO train. If you're on it, let's go. And if you're thinking about getting on, welcome if you do. Put your seatbelt on, because we're going for a ride. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.